Anything else from me?
And we're live. Bye, Mandy. Okay. Unfortunately, this is not the regular type of podcast. I'm here with my sister, Avigail Gimpel. If you've been following my podcast, you know that was my favorite podcast with my sister walking in the hills of Judea at better times. The reason we're doing this podcast with my wonderful sister is because there is a war in Israel, if you haven't been paying attention, and the animal terrorist. I'm just going to come out and make my make my statement right. For starters, attacked and killing innocent people. And Abigail not only lives in Israel, but her son and her son-in-law have been called back to the army. She'll tell us more about this. This is the two purposes of this podcast right now. One is to find out what is going on, which I really, really want to know. And I think people in America are not getting necessarily an Israeli perspective. Although we're getting like sensational news, but we're not really getting like what's happening with a mother in Israel. And the other thing is, what could we do to help? And hopefully you could help guide us with that because you're doing awesome things. And anyway, Abigail, hi. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Ani. Thanks for having me. It's a horrific time, so I appreciate you inviting me to have this conversation so I could share what's going on over here.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that I really love talking to you, and this conversation is the one I did not want to have. Is that a weird thing to say? I literally, this whole topic makes me want to like run and hide and not deal with it. I mean, I have that. I'm able to do that. You're not able to do that. I could just hide and make pretend. Like people were saying, don't look at videos, don't look at this. Don't. And I'm like, where are you going? Like you're gonna put something over your head and hide. So I've been wanting to do that and not doing that. So for starters, hold on a second. Gabriel wanted to tell me it's going well. I'm sorry. My crew, which is my son, is helping out with this first Zoom. Abigail, I'm going to ask you big questions because I really don't, even though this happened, I came to shul on the first day of the second day's Yom Tif, which is you only have one day. And
Shabbos morning.
it was Shabbos morning, and I'm hearing like it was just like I went to the shul, and this security person came to me and started asking me all these questions because it was a shul I don't usually go to, and they had like 10 security guards standing in front, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why is this guy making me recite Shema and like prove that I'm a Jew to get in? And then they told me that this horrific thing is happening, and we sat around having no idea. And now I feel like we're getting too much information, so we don't really know what's going on. So I know you're not a news reporter, but as a mother and as someone who lives there, could you tell us? I'm trying to figure out where to start, but maybe you could tell us what happened and what has been your experience so far, and then we'll go from there. Does that make sense? Is that too much, too broad a question?
Yeah, we'll start at the very beginning. And no, that's fine. We'll just we'll start at the beginning. We I think I was probably the only one who heard the explosions on Shabbos morning at about 6:30. Just crazy explosions in the distance, and I didn't know what they were. I was kind of trying to sleep through them, and they kept sticking them into my dreams until at about 8:20 the sirens started wailing, and Danielle and I had to jump out of bed and gather all of our children and throw them into our bomb shelter. We had two guests over as well. So he ran upstairs, I ran downstairs. We threw everybody in there. All my kids came down wrapped in blankets, looking bleary and confused. And we just kind of sat there, but we usually theoretically get about a minute and a half if warning if a rocket's coming over from the Gaza Strip, and they've clearly upgraded their rockets, because we had about 20 seconds from the first moment when we leaped out of bed till we heard the rocket land quite close to our home. And
Wow.
and it was throughout the next 20-30 minutes, one after the next. The kids ran back to bed thinking, okay, well, that was weird.
Right.
And I ran across the street to the neighbor to see if maybe I could get information. Obviously, none of us were on social media or on our telephones, so we're trying to piece it together. And then another neighbor walks by and says, oh, it's just we're bombing Gaza. And I'm like, well, okay, that sounds strange. Why would we
Right.
randomly be doing that? But then we had to run right back into the bomb shelter. So for the next hour and a half or so, one after the next, and we're watching these plumes of smoke coming up from the mountainside. It's very surreal, very, very freaky. One of our guests was not Jewish. I kind of suggested that she take a look at her social media and reach out to the world and see what was going on. She couldn't get any information, total blackout. We tried to
What
get
does
to
that mean? Total blackout. What does that mean?
it's just there was nothing. There was nothing. There was no information. There was nothing on social media. There was nothing and J Post. There was no news whatsoever to be had. So we were just in the dark. And but so my guys tried to get to shul and were all sent home. We landed up having a beautiful chag davening with hakafot and everything in our front yard. We got a Torah, and we danced the whole morning away. We kept running back inside to the bomb shelter every once in a while, but
Wow.
we had
Still not knowing what's going on.
we had no idea. But at that point, midway through the hakafot, Gabriel, who is a soldier, and he just finished his standing duty. Gabriel's my oldest son. He had to turn on his phone because things started heating up, and he realized that he had to be able to be in touch, gotten in touch with. And he opened his phone and he got the horribly bitter news right away that the team, it's I don't know how we say all these words in English, but I know I'm American, but like his Sevet, the group of soldiers that graduated right below him, who served with him, were completely wiped out. And this was 22 guys that he knew, friends of his. And that was the first bit of bitter
They were
information.
on the base right by Gaza.
Yeah, they were on that base, and they were overwhelmed by over 1,000 terrorists who just came in and completely took them out, stole everything on the base, and including vehicles, all of their guns, and that's how they got into the different Gaza communities. So that rolled in, and then through the other soldiers who were suddenly I live in a community where there's almost no family that doesn't have either a combat soldier son or husband or both. So and there tend to be in elite units as well. So suddenly we're being inundated with tons of information that people have been kidnapped, that there are communities, literally Holocaust style situations where communities were herded into the dining room of the community, and we're being either shot or surrounded and threatened by terrorists. And we didn't get any of that imagery that you're getting, and you shouldn't be watching. Don't watch it. You
Right.
don't need to see it. It doesn't help you at all. It just creates misery. And I'm not watching it.
They were film. I haven't watched anything, but they didn't. They were filming all this stuff. This is why we have all this. Who was filming?
So
They filmed everything.
the terrorists filmed everything, and what those video clips are is them filming the kidnapping of men, women, children, grandmothers, little girls, and beating, harassing them, shoving them into cars, taking them. There's an awful scene of a mother being separated from her husband and child, and being thrown on the back of a motorcycle, and being zoomed over the border, screaming for her husband and child. These were the films that they were showing people. And not only that, there was a big festival going on, a nature festival, a peace
Right.
nature festival, and right there next to the Gaza border. These just bunch of post hippies having a good time on the holiday, and most of them were killed. A couple of them were taken over the border and are being held hostage now, very likely being abused, raped. We don't know exactly what's going on with them, but the bits of information that we're getting is that they're not being treated well. They were all bloodied, those that were taken over the border, and but the rest of them, there was one Arab man who was in charge of the lighting for that event. When he realized what was going on, he actually managed to save about 40 of the people that were there. He under fire, he kept going in and out, stuffing as many people in his car as possible. Besides for him, who's an absolute hero, the rest of them were either slaughtered. 250 beautiful souls are gone just from that party alone. And we've been under fire for thousands of rockets. We've been under fire. Just now we were on our way to a wedding and we couldn't leave because we were attacked by a number of rockets. I would say that nearly finished me off because I couldn't find my kids. And
I was on the phone when you were when you was like, where are the kids? No, I was right after.
That's right. And so we finally found all of them, and they had the common sense to go into their friends' bomb shelters. But in these kind of situations, when you don't know where your children are, you start to lose your mind. And I was losing my mind when I spoke to you. But I would say the most horrific experience for a mom up till now was on Saturday night when I finally got through to my married daughter, Ayelet, and my son-in-law, knowing that my son-in-law would probably be called up. She was in tears, and she said, Ima, come get me. And there were rockets landing in her area. She's right in the center of the country by Tel Aviv.
She's much closer.
Without hesitation, I strapped my my weapon on and
oh wow,
and got in the car and drove out there and was listening to the radio to see if there was any incoming missiles, and just kept driving. My strategy was drive fast. And I got to my girl, I got to them and got them in the car, but then I had to take my son-in-law to his army base and drop him off and stand there and witness my daughter having to say goodbye and part ways with her husband.
Newly married.
She's just in her 7th month pregnant, and she had to go through that kind of trauma of saying goodbye to him and not knowing when she'd see him next. And then we finally got home at about midnight, and then our son Gabriel said, Ima, I need to be in Beersheba at 5 a.m. And I said, okay, let's go. And we took him and had to part ways with him. We gave them, each of them, a bracha and sent them on their way.
Wow. But Jesse told me that Gabriel just cut off his cast to go.
Yeah, but we're not allowed
to. Oh shit. Okay. You think the Israeli army is listening to this podcast?
I'm just saying, everybody has been posting about that because it's so insane.
Oh my god. But he's down in he's in Gaza, like right there. He's right there.
So Gabriel's unit, he's in an elite unit. Yeah, and his unit is trained for warfare. That's their specialty. So he went to Beersheba and they sent them directly to Sderot. Right now he's somewhere that he can't tell me, but he's somewhere outside of Sderot. He hadn't slept in about 40 hours and or eaten. He finally did get a chance to sleep, but they're under fire and they're fighting valiantly, and we just have to pray. One of his closest friends, we just got word, who we know well, just got married, was murdered just now, a couple of hours ago. He doesn't know, and yeah, it's devastating. He doesn't know. We have to keep his spirits up.
Is this someone who passed away before, or he just got killed?
He just got killed. He's in the Duvdevan, and
What is it, Duke Devon? What's the
Duvdevan is an elite unit, and they went in pretty quickly, and he was killed in the line of duty. Leaves behind his new bride.
this is really hard because I'm trying very hard not to cry the whole time you're talking to me. This is not working so well.
I have my tissues. It's funny because as a woman carrying a gun, I have this big belt, but I have like tissue stuck in it, and I have like a little, I'm using it as my pocketbook, a little credit card, some tissues, for
Right.
different things we might need while having this conversation.
Well, they said King David would walk with a sword in one hand and the Torah in the other. It was it's one of the lines
So does the
I've
does the
heard.
gun and tissues count?
So I think a Jewish mother walks with a gun and tissues. That's just what's a mother without tissues? I don't even know if
Right.
someone's got to blow their nose and cry at some point.
Yeah.
And everybody's got to turn to one person. I'm not right. That's
Yeah.
it's gonna be on a flag one day. A gun and tissues as the
I'll
mother.
send you the imagery. I'll send you a picture afterwards.
With a gun oh, okay. Of your thing. Um Sometimes when I'm hearing from the outside, okay, I, the biggest feeling I'm having is, and I feel like you guys are having this too, even with having a soldier son, is total helplessness. Like this is like, I mean, even the fact that, I mean, okay, look, it's just starting. Like, how did they not know this is coming? Like, this is, I mean, I don't mean to go into conspiracy theory or anything like that, but this is a massive attack. What is happening here? Like, do you have any more information about that over there, or are you just having the same question? Like,
There's a lot of head scratching, finger pointing, blaming, but no hard information. And the soldiers that I speak to, and I've been hanging out at army bases for the last 2 days, trying to feed the soldiers, because there's just such a massive call up of soldiers that the army was not prepared to feed them, to give them just basic needs. So I've been raising money and just going and putting and bringing as much food as humanly possible to certain army bases. Like I've kind of adopted the Hebron army base, and we've been taking care of them. So I've been speaking to the soldiers when we go to visit them, and a lot of them had been deployed on the Gaza border, and they don't understand. They say, when if one person came near the fence, then every one of us was up and moving and running, and sirens were blaring. And the fact that over 1,000 terrorists walked through into Israel and was able to slaughter nearly 1,000 people is not to be believed, and nobody understands what happened here. Nobody.
craziest thing I ever heard. I mean, it's really crazy, and I mean, besides for the deaths, the morale of like believing that the Israeli army is so powerful and like we have all this intelligence. It's like it's not feeling really great right now. I don't know if you froze. I think I
Yeah,
lost you.
that funny that listen to.
Hold on one second. I think we
Oh
lost
boy,
you.
our connection's not great. Your internet's a little weak, but um
Yeah, you're at war and my internet's bad. What? The internet got bad.
seriously, Sonny, get it together.
I
The
tried.
internet guy, would you have another? You're doing good. What I was trying to say to you is that what's even more horrifying is that these communities, you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
When the communities got infiltrated, they were expecting reinforcement. Suddenly, there were Hamas terrorists riding in Israeli army vehicles, using Israeli guns in their streets, and they're watching through the slits in their blinds and inside their bomb shelters. They're watching people just literally being shot at point blank on the streets of their cities that were always just, not always, they've had rocket fire, but they've never seen a thing like this. They're calling for help. They're desperately calling for help over and over and over again. It took 3 hours for these people to get reinforcement. There was one kibbutz that lost over 100 of its citizens in 3 hours of just being butchered, a never-ending pogrom. And it took that long for police and other soldiers to come. And when they did come, they were also killed.
How the whole country isn't 3 hours long. Like, how is this? I could have drove from a lot at that time. Like, does that make any sense?
It doesn't make sense. I'm listening to the voices of these mothers, and they, no one's ever going to be the same again. Their lives have completely shifted. You can't come back from this. And they just don't understand. They're just like living in this hellish nightmare and can't understand how the country allowed them to be slaughtered for 3 hours straight without any help.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Hold on. Gabriel, what are you doing? Okay. I'm sorry. It's very okay, water break. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is let me just catch my breath for a second. It's like, this sounds like, it doesn't even sound like Israel wars. It sounds like Europe. Like, it feels like a pogrom or the Nazis. Like, the whole thing is that we have an ability to fight back now. Like, there's been some horrible wars in Israel, but this is like, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, this has been a World War II, not Holocaust Nazi vibe, or Cossacks and pogroms. That's been the vibe here, and it's quite terrifying. The only way we are managing to get from day to day is by immersing ourselves in good deeds and helping people less fortunate than us, and unfortunately going to funerals and just trying to put one foot in front of the other and know that tomorrow might be better. That's it. That's all we're doing.
I'm just wondering, like, I'm hearing in your voice some things like, what is the general feeling of, like, your neighbors and people you're talking to? Like, what are the feelings that people are having about all this, besides for shock? I'm assuming shock is probably the
Well,
biggest one.
we don't really have time for shock.
Okay.
Because we had to respond right away, especially since just about every one of my friends had to kiss their son or daughter goodbye and send them off. A lot of girls.
By the way, those videos, those are the hardest for me. Jeez. Watching. There's a bunch of videos I see of, like, parents, like, just sending their kids off. You just don't know if they're coming back. I need to say this to you, but those are the ones that are the worst. So immediately it happens, you got to go into action. There's no.
Right. So I have a sense that I'm probably I have a sense that I'm probably more grounded than you, just because I have to be. Like, there's no time to stop and contemplate. But it's a really, really challenging situation, because on the one hand, all we want is to just flatten Gaza, just flatten it,
Right.
just push them back. I certainly don't want innocents to die. They voted in this government and been supporting it, and let them have let the innocents have a backdoor to flee into Egypt. That's fine with me.
Right.
But this whole place has to be flattened, row after row. That's the one sentiment. The
Right.
other sentiment is, my God, that would be my son going in to flatten it, and they've booby trapped all of Gaza, and there are tunnels underneath all of Gaza, so terrorists could be jumping up and attacking at any point. And it seems to me to be quite the meat grinder. And frankly, I'd rather not donate my son to the meat grinder. That's the other sentiment that we're all having.
Well, that's
And
the
then the
thing,
other
that even if you don't flatten it, you have to go in. I'm saying the flatten Gaza means you could do it from the sky, but there
right.
is no sky here because you just kill innocents because they're all on the ground, I'm assuming. Like
So
all the
that's the
fighters.
challenge. The and then the third part of this incredible mess is that they have over 50 of our people, and they're putting them in tunnels, and they'll go ahead and drop a bomb on that. So they took care of us bombing from the air because we are a nation of life. We're not a death cult, and we're not willing to pay the price of killing our own innocent people. So the choice now is the impossible choice, which is our soldiers or the kidnapped civilians that are being held hostage. Whose life's more important? And that's what we're dealing with. And it's literally an impossible choice. And you know, I don't know. As a mother whose son is on the Gaza border, I have no words. I have no words. That's the dilemma right now.
Well, I have a question. Like, does anybody have a solution to the Gaza issue ever that makes any sense? Like, when I think about it, like Yona asked me, like, what would you do? And I usually am a man of a lot of opinions. I try not to say them all at once, but if
Yes,
someone
you are.
asks me a direct question, I usually have something I thought of, and I'm going to tell you that I can't think of a solution that does not go with everybody get on ships. You're being dropped off in Africa and go make a new country there. And that's the only solution I have in my head. Like, all Gazans, here's a barge, get in the barge, maybe make it cruise ships. Everybody feels a little more comfortable. Take them to Gaza, take them to Africa, to some empty place. Try to find out if
Well,
it's actually empty.
listen, New York is accepting asylum seekers, so maybe you could stick them into New York, where they want all the asylum seekers.
No, but I'm talking seriously. I cannot think of anything you could come up with, whether you're right wing or left wing, that makes any sense in this. I mean, are there any things that you've heard, any reasonable solutions that could possibly help the situation? That's that's my frustration.
Yeah, I heard it way long ago.
What's that?
I heard it way long ago from Rav Kahana.
Kahana, yeah.
But since Kahana, there hasn't been any good solutions. The problem is, Sani, that the Israeli government has been actively not wanting to win for a long time. We've had a number of skirmishes. I don't know if you remember, but when Gabriel was on active duty, there had been a skirmish, one of those skirmishes, and he was at the border, and he was ready to go in. He was marching in, and then they ended it. They bombed a bunch of tunnels. They got a bunch of terrorists in the tunnels, and they sent everyone home. So for me, it was a sigh of relief. Okay, my boy is home, and we celebrated that. But what we had done is just a little smack on the wrist. No, don't do that. Don't you be misbehaving, you Gazans. And we went on our way. And honestly, I think that innocent Gazan families are suffering now because of the behavior of both sides, frankly, because we have never been decisive. We gave them the territory. They are a free territory. We are in no control over them whatsoever. They can do whatever they want in their territory, and they have insisted on being a death cult that lives in hatred and only produces more and more hatred and death. And therefore but instead of seeing it for what it is, and being able to properly fight the Hamas, we've been strengthening them by doing little fights, and then they restock with even better stuff from Iran. I'm telling you, the rockets that landed in my backyard were not the homemade rockets that landed 12 years ago, 10 years, what was it, 8 years ago. 8 years ago, we also had some rockets.
Right, a lot of rockets.
Those were these little pathetic things. It took about a minute and a half for it to get. These were not the same rockets. We watched one land in Beitar today. We can see everything from my window. You know my window. I get this.
Yeah, like the highest.
Way high up, and I get this panoramic view. So we see the Iron Dome. We see rockets land. It's like, who needs TV? But the thing is, we watched that rocket land in Beitar, and 4 people were wounded, and we saw it happen. Those were not homemade rockets. So each time we weaken them a little, they come back much stronger. And that's what we've been doing for years. We've literally been strengthening them. So no, I don't have a solution. Had we listened to Hannah back then, it could have been humanitarian. It could have been peaceful with no bloodshed. Just separate completely.
Right. There's no way to help, but there is a way to help, right? Because just because this is getting very depressing, but I don't know. I don't know. There seems to be something that's just gooking up the chance of a solution. It's interesting because I've always slightly joked about that, like, Hamas is stuck behind the wall. Like, what could they really do? Like, the shooting of rockets, but we're just knocking it down. And this is definitely a wake up call for me. All right, don't give me the "I told you so" eyes.
We had a big fight about this a couple of years ago. Do you remember?
We did. But I will tell you, most of it was just to provoke you. I will come up with new opinions just to make you a little bit riled up.
Listen, I get that is your job.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you doing your job.
Yeah, I could tell. I have the Shtachim game. You know my Shtachim game?
Yes.
So I'll just explain to the listeners, if anybody's still listening. The Shtachim game is, you say to anybody living in the West Bank or in a really scary place, you say, "Wow, how does it feel like to live in such a dangerous place?" And then you count the seconds before they mention school shootings. And you try to get them to say school shootings as fast as possible. Like, what about the school shootings in America? Anyway, but these jokes are not funny now.
Honestly, I have to tell you, when I came yesterday to Hebron to deliver this big meal, I thought I was feeding 90 soldiers. Turns out I was feeding way more than that. And thank God I'm a Jewish mother, so I way overcooked. And there's no restaurants open. Like, I couldn't do any takeout. I had to prepare all the food myself. And anyway, we get there, and it was 2 groups. One group that was leaving Hebron, they were going up north. That was a Nachal group, and then we had a Kfir group coming in to take over for them, so they can go to the north, where we're also having rocket attacks. So I was watching that group that was leaving, and they were doing what Jews do best. They were like, "Hey, who wants a cigarette before the war?" And what do I wear to the war? And like they're literally doing war jokes. Like they're laughing, they're giggling, they're having the best time making Jewish jokes about war. It was ridiculous. And then there was this one soldier who came over to me very quietly. I was just sitting there watching them eat, getting like a lot of good feeling, Jewish nachat from watching them eat my food.
Right.
And they like wolfed it. They were so hungry. They just wolfed it down. And he says, "You speak English, right?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And he says, "Well, I'm a lone soldier. I came from America." And I said, "Well, what's going on? How are you doing? It must be hard for you without parents here." He said, "Oh yeah, it's really hard. And I'm really scared. I'm really scared because I don't know what's going on in the north. It's an unknown. We're worried we're going to be surprise attacked." And we talked for a while, and I was able to, I don't, just listen, certainly not comfort him, but just listen. And then we took his name, and Ayala and I went to the Marana Machpelah right afterwards, and we davened for him specifically, and all of them. But that's what was the energy was laughter. Let's go, let's get it, let's do it, let's take care of this thing, and high spirits.
Right. Which is, it's so, I had a long time ago, I had at my house, like somebody was throwing out a like a figurine of like a bunch of people playing violin and guitar, and it was like three characters. One of them was like missing their head, one was missing their arm. Someone was throwing this away, and I'm like, this. I was like, how could you throw this away? This perfectly describes the Jewish people. Like, we're still singing, playing music. You don't even need your head. This guy didn't have his arms. Like everything had fallen off the statue. I still have it in my house. It's like statue. There's only one guy with a head. And this, oh no, there's two guys with a head, but one guy's with an arm, one guy's, but I think that's why we have so much humor in the Jewish community. Is like, this is very reminiscent of Europe. That's what I'm trying to say. This whole experience is that you guys live in a place where you have to make a joke. You have to be light. They're sending out all these videos of like Am Yisrael Chai and like people with all this enthusiasm. Even the pictures you're sending us of like the Chayalim that you're feeding, like they're all like, they look like they're having the time of their life. Like, because they just got a pita or something, you know what I mean? Or whatever. It's like, this is great. So I mean,
Little
it's type
dinky
of
hot dog.
what? A little dinky hot dog, right? And
I
and
said
you,
little dinky hot dog.
yeah, that little dinky hot dog just made their day. Um, I yeah, I think I've never experienced the vulnerability of Israel before these last 3 days. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
alive for the Yom Kippur War. I think this is probably what they felt then. Um, I think this is very similar to the Yom Kippur War in some ways.
In
Um,
many ways, yeah.
I think this is scarier because honestly, I think the Yom Kippur War could be won. Like as long as you beat up those other nations, there's an end to the war. This Gaza thing is, wait till Qatar says, "Oh, they're going to be nice, and we'll be nice, and they'll be nice, and why don't you give them some more cement to build some more tunnels, and then everybody will stop shooting at you." Like that's what I see ending. Do you see another ending for this? I'm getting frustrated, but like, do you see anything
Well,
else?
that's already, Danielle's been listening to the news a lot, and I've been trying to stick my fingers in my ears and carry on making food for the Chayalim. But when I do take my fingers out of my ears, basically what they're talking about is, this country's trying to make a peace deal, and that country's trying to get to help us with a ceasefire and all that stuff. And I'm like, really? You come in, you slaughter us, ceasefire?
Right. Because the whole thing, it's all like is it, I don't know. I don't even know what they plan on gaining. There's literally nobody wins in this situation. And I want to bring up one other thing. Is the one thing I've been looking at, because everybody's been mentioning this for a long time. Like anything you write on social media, you immediately get free Palestine. Like they write free
Yeah.
Palestine. Like I'm sure you get that. Even have you gotten that before this? If you've ever written anything Jewish?
I
Um,
don't write a lot of, my topic is not Jewish. My topic is international, and everyone could relate to it. I've never gotten no, I've never
no.
gotten comments like that on my subject matter on social media, but I see it for everybody else, and it's really shocking.
Yeah, no, I gotta tell you that I've been looking a little bit in the last day or two, and I generally don't look at comments. I almost I'm not paying attention to what the person's saying. Like I'm going on through my feed, and there's someone's talking about, I don't know, Israel, this, whatever they're saying, and then I go on the comments, and I would say it's around 50% of like vitriol, like disgusting talk about, like, just skipping over the fact that a pogrom is happening while you're alive and you're seeing it happen, and you're not losing your mind and going, do something about this. Like, these people are animals. That's like, I can't even see it. And the whole world is literally like ignoring this. I don't know. Maybe it's not the whole world. Maybe it's just a couple of sick people on the internet, but it really feels pretty big out there. I don't know. I don't know if you're seeing this at all. Sorry about that. If you are there, that was absolutely horrible. This It's not absolutely horrible like the stuff we're talking about, but the internet here is absolutely horrible. I'm going to use a different
Yeah,
word. It's bad internet. That's what I'm going to say. It's not absolutely
sure.
horrible. It doesn't matter that the internet's bad. It's
Let's put things in perspective, Sonny.
oh my gosh. That's that line from who was it? I forgot who it was. He says that tragedy is when I cut my finger, and comedy is when you fall in a manhole cover and die. It's, it's, so it's like, this internet is horrible because it's happening to me. It's not. I actually I get a lot of comfort from what you're saying about how people are reacting with the humor, and you know because that's how I react, and I feel really bad about it. Like, I could be crying 1 second and then cracking like 50 jokes the next second, and I feel bad. Like, this is not the right time for it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm more Israeli than I
No, I
think.
think it's something that we use. I don't know that you should feel bad about it. And I think it's our human response. Like it's something that protects us. My face, you can't see it as well right now, but it's covered in dry tears from getting the news of Gabriel's dear Yosef, his dear friend that's been killed. And all the way home, we actually went to a wedding this evening where it was so joyful, and like everyone just put the war aside for the bride and groom, and everyone was hurting, and everyone was dancing, and everyone was singing, and we walked out of that on a high, and then saw the news of and we go from the high to the low to the joke to the serious and to the worry, and that's how we have to do. We can't remain in one place or we would lose our minds.
Okay, switching. What could we do now? Let's start there. We could go back. I well, let me just say one thing. You guys finished Simchat Torah like that day, and we had to dance for a whole nother day. And I
I was worried about you guys.
honestly, I mean, I guess it was good that we just didn't hear enough information, but it was really hard to dance. It was really hard to dance. Like, just felt horrible. So what could we do? What could we do? You're doing cool stuff, and
um yeah, so I'm
we
doing a
want to
few
help.
things. First, thank you. And the main thing you could do to help is really just pray. Like pray and pray and pray and keep and do good deeds in your own communities, and look for people who need help, and do it all with the intention of bonding and togetherness. And we don't do well when we have sinat chinam, when we just have this baseless hatred. And let's get rid of that on your side, on our side, And we'll start there. Besides for that, like I said before, we've kind of adopted the army base in Hebron, and we've been bringing meals there as often as possible. I've spent thousands of shekels on preparing and buying meals, as well as helping out with the soldiers that have gone up north. It's getting cold. It rained today, so we donated today 1,000 shekels to buy just thermal underwear for those soldiers. And a lot of the soldiers were literally taken directly from shul to their bases, so they didn't have any clothing. They don't have underwear, socks, deodorant, shampoo, literally nothing except they were handed their worn out army uniform. And so today we brought to the base a hair clipper that somebody had donated, so the guys could at least feel good and feel clean, and at least have it's for their morale to at least have their hair cut nicely and just feel normal. And so we would like to expand that. We would like to I've asked people on different bases to just give us a list, tell us what it is that you need, what you're missing, because we want to make them feel as comfortable as possible. Just today, someone took a phone charger to Gabriel's base. One of the guy's girlfriends, came by and gathered up a bunch of, because he's not on a base. He's literally just in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And so therefore they need these portable chargers. So these are things that cost money, and we're trying to provide them as fast as possible. We're also trying to give support to young mothers whose husbands have gone off to war, and they're just left home alone with their little kids. So to provide babysitting, buying them meals, preparing them meals, anything that they need. So that's what we've been doing, and people have been really donating very generously. Really, I've been overwhelmed by it. People have been donating through Zell, through PayPal, and 100% of the money goes out. By the next day, it's gone. I'm not holding on to any of it. I'm spending it immediately only on causes for the soldiers and their wives and children, and that's it.
Okay, so first of all, give us the link how you could send it, and I will post it, but you could say it.
Okay. Let's see. So PayPal is to my email address, which is hyperhealingadhd@gmail.com. That's actually my real work is with hyperactive with ADHD.
We got that.
And
we got that in the last podcast.
Our other conversation to find out about that. But and the company name there is Mount Etam, which seems very appropriate right now. Because that's actually Mount Etam. The Etam mountain is actually the mountain that's it's in the Tanakh, and it's the highest mountain in the region. So actually our mountain, the mountain I live on, is the highest mountain in the region. So it's assumed that this is the mountain that that a lot of the prophets wandered on, lived on, did all sorts of miracles on, so this mountain is what we call Mount Etam. And so we when we set up the company, we called it after our mountaintop. But Etam, it means strength, and so no, it's Etan, that means strength. All right, I'll have to get back.
Sounds
Etan,
like that.
Whatever, it's a good word. But the point is that that's the name of the company, and everything that's coming in is going directly out. And we also have
so you Zell it to that you Zell it to? I'm gonna post a link.
You post a link, okay, good, because I'm looking for the other one right now.
Send me the links.
What
should they write something in the?
So they would have to write soldiers there.
Right, soldiers. Otherwise, you're just paying my sister for a very nice session you didn't get.
Do not. No. Anyway, I would know that it was for a session because I would have your name on it. But yeah, please write for soldiers.
Right.
And it will go directly to that. And also, if people want to pay to Zell.
So what was that? What was that again? Because just remind me. How would they send that?
That's PayPal.
That's
I
PayPal.
prefer
Okay.
not to use PayPal actually, because PayPal takes a very high percentage. And
Yeah.
like I said, 100% of this is going to the soldiers and their
Right.
families. And I prefer PayPal not get a cut of that, frankly.
Nice.
If
Right.
you know, if we could avoid that, I think through Zell we can get it done in a less costly manner and more direct. So Zell, my neighbor was kind enough to help to allow us to use her Zell account. So it's Eisenberg.medical, Eisenberg.medical @gmail.com. And that's Daniel Eisenberg, the name on the account. And she's transferring that directly to me.
And write
And that
soldiers on that also.
and write soldiers. Anywhere you're going to donate, you have to write soldiers. And we're just doing it in an impromptu way, and trying to get to as many people as possible. Those of you who have any questions, you could also reach me, Sonny, if you could put my phone number if people want to reach me through WhatsApp and ask
Just
any
put that
questions.
live. Just put that out there.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Um,
Maybe.
what?
Maybe an email.
Or email. You could put my not my business email, my regular email, Avigail Gimpel @gmail.com. No
Okay, that's
Y
better.
in my name, by the way. But
No
AVIGAL.
why?
There's no Y.
I know there's no why, but I thought you said no
But
I. I'm like, am I even saying it wrong for all this stuff?
everybody puts a Y, which is fine. I don't mind. I've been called Chev my entire life. So if you misspell my name, I'm cool with that. So, well, I cannot hear you. Your volume is gone. Gov gov.
Yeah.
All right, you're back. No.
Did I do that? Did you hear me? Do you hear me?
Now I hear you. Yeah.
She's he's saying it's my fault. Um,
Of course he's saying it's your fault. He's your teenage son.
do you want to know why it's my fault? And I've done it once before, and I know he's right. Because if you look on the bottom, this is going to be our one ADHD. On the bottom, this mic is not made for ADHD people because you could play with this piece and then you pull it out
Oh,
accidentally. And I have done it before. So
thank God your son could focus.
my son focuses fine. So, well, what if someone has like a particular thing they want to help with? Like, for example, I would like to donate for deodorant because a bunch of smelly chayalim is very much like I would like to protect, unless they're using that as a weapon. I would let, no, that's half a joke, but also like if somebody wants to give something particular, would that be something they could write or okay. Tell me about
Sure.
the
If they wanted to, then yeah.
okay, tell me about the bulletproof vest. I don't know if you have to.
So that, yeah. So Gabriel called earlier today and said that he doesn't have any bulletproof vests. Ceramic. They put ceramic in the vests, and that's really quite efficient at getting them not to be killed from bullets to the chest, which I would really like. He said they hadn't given him yet. The army had not provided it. So we're trying to figure out how to get it ourselves. But then the army actually, so many parents started bombarding them with requests for vests and trying to figure out why their sons don't have the vests. And these are combat soldiers. These are not the soldiers in offices. These are combat soldiers who are in the hot zone and they don't have proper protection from bullets. So that's really just beyond incomprehensible. And So we started, and then as we were driving to the wedding, the minister of defense actually got on the radio and said, we are just taking a few days to figure out what our next step is. Every single one of the soldiers will get a vest. That was from us mama bears
There you
bombarding.
go. Squeaky wheel.
So we had, yeah. So I was one of the mama bears, but there were hundreds more. And there was an option to buy these 5,000 shekel vests per soldier. But the Army said, absolutely do not do that, because we don't know the quality of those vests. And
Right.
they could only be, vests that Zell gives a an Ishur on, which is they allow those vests because they consider them the most safe. So therefore, right now that's on hold. Within the next 2 days, if they haven't gotten their vests, we will mama bear this thing again, and we might need tremendous amount of donations to get the vests.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I will put that out, and I'll put it out on Instagram, whatever, whenever that comes out. So let me know about that. What else do we have to know in America? I'm gonna let you go to sleep. I hope you get to sleep. I really do.
What I told you already, when my son is out in the fields, it's in the cold and the rain. It's mothers don't sleep in those kind of situations. It's not, I haven't slept in days.
Oh my God.
So I'll probably get off and do the laundry or something. But what do you have to know? You have to know that you need to be talking to your children and keeping them secure, not letting them be overwhelmed by lots of information that they don't need to know. Having everybody, I think the best way to help ourselves here is to keep ourselves busy with good deeds, and not to get stuck on our screens, and not to get stuck with thinking up scenarios. We always joke about it in my family that, like, we'll drive by like a group of people, and like our brain straight goes to, well, if I were a terrorist, I would, and like we come up with all sorts of good ideas about how we could take out that crowd if we were terrorists. And it's not because we're crazy, it's because that's what Israelis do. Wow, your internet is awful.
It's awful.
Um,
Oh my gosh. Someone just
I don't know
texting
if
me
you're
that
hearing
someone's
anything from talking to myself.
actually before yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. It's just the video quality went down. Hold on one second. I'll tell you why. Because apparently there's a whole chat going on. I didn't
Okay.
realize. Let's see when we get you back. What? God goes like I
Thank
set
you,
it up for you.
ADHD again.
So I want to Gabriel, come here a second. Help me out. There's WhatsApps, but is this all the chats that's going on? Okay, fine. It's not that much. People are saying thank you to
Are
you.
people asking questions? I also want to add to that, son, that
It's terrible what's going on. I can't hear her on the internet. You there? Oh my gosh. This is the worst internet ever.
yeah, I'm here. I was trying to say is that sometimes people think that writing a note to soldiers is silly, and they won't care, and it's not true. It's not true at all. The kids here have been busy all day making cookies and making little pictures and sending notes and saying thank you to our incredibly brave soldiers. And it goes a long way when we deliver it to them. It brightens up their entire faces, and they grow an inch or two. So
Oh, so
the
that's a
kids
really
can
good idea.
also write letters. You can send letters, you can decorate them, send them my way. I'll print them out, stick them in the meals that we bring. We're
Oh,
probably going to expand to other Army bases within the next day or two. So if the kids want to do that, if the parents want to do that, it's felt here. It's
right.
real. And we are one body. We are one body. We are one spirit, and we're all connected. And
Right.
the energy you send from there through your prayers, through your good wishes, through your contributions, and through letters is really, really felt and meaningful.
Oh wow, you just gave me such an idea, because why don't, maybe is there a way you could get a list that we could like adopt a soldier and send letters, like a kid could take on a soldier or something like that? Is that a thing or no? I don't know. Lost you again. Abigail. Okay, dead space, guys. If anybody else is still listening.
My internet would be off, but somehow in comfy Muncie, you can't get it together.
Yeah. This is my I think because there are 18 grown men living in this house. So I think we're all sharing the same internet here. Because I'm in the sober
Okay,
living
tell
here.
Yona to get off of his internet.
Oh, no, that's not. I'm not at home. If I was at home, it'd be fine. That's what I'm gonna do this next time.
You're in your office. Got it.
No, so the idea I came up with was maybe you could get names and people would adopt a soldier type of thing, or maybe that's too cheesy. I don't know.
I don't know if I will be able to get
Them
that kind
their
of
names.
sophistication pulled off.
All right. We'll just write letters, make
General
pictures.
letters from little kids, big kids, whatever they can do, pictures or words, Hebrew, English. You could Google translate it. It'll come out awful, but the Chayalim will understand.
Right.
And there's a good bit of English anyway. They know a lot of English, but obviously for those who don't, a little bit of Hebrew would be nice.
And
But
someone will
just good
translate
sentiment.
it.
Yeah, even so that's the thing you could do. Stay active and stay positive. That's what we're doing here.
Right.
And we're praying. And please keep my boys in mind.
1 second. Where do we send these letters? Someone's asking. Just the same email as
You know what, send it to the same email as the PayPal, hyper healing ADHD. Sonny, write that down. Hyperhealing ADHD at
you're
gmail.com. I
gonna
want to
text it to me right afterwards, and I'm gonna post it.
Okay, because if it's the same as the PayPal, it'll keep it organized for me also, because I don't want it coming in on my work email and confusing
Oh,
everything. I don't lose
wait,
any of the
Gov, you're
letters.
writing this? Do you have the hyper healing thing? Gov, you writing the hyper healing thing? Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, Gavga's been doing things this entire time. I had no idea if he was sitting on the couch watching videos.
Not
Um,
our boy.
somebody is Shayna is asking, would love to hear your thoughts about feeling guilty doing regular day-to-day tasks or going on social media to watch random funny clips.
Okay,
Any thoughts on
Shayna.
that?
Yes, I do. I have many thoughts on that. The human beings cannot be stuck in misery and worry all day, every day. It's not possible. We here in Israel are mixing it up. We're focusing, we bad news comes in and we cry. And then my kids just watched a movie. And then we shared some funny memes about the war with each other. That's just the way it is. And to keep yourself healthy and sane, which you must do for your family, for your kids, you must keep yourself healthy and sane. Carry on watching funny clips and also pray.
Okay. This guy also, my friend, texts me in the middle that there are 1,000 bulletproof vests coming. I don't know. That doesn't seem like
Well,
relevant information. They're probably not going to let him use it.
and one of them.
Oh, shoot. All right. I think we're going to have to end. Guile, you
Yeah, I'm with
there?
you.
I
Yep,
love you
yep.
very, very much, but I think we're gonna have to end because this internet's driving me mad. And I'm going to reserve that. Maybe as this goes on, we could do this again another day. I don't know, because I don't know what's coming, and it really gives me a lot of comfort that you could tell us what's going on, tell us what we could do to help, and I'm gonna post all the stuff that you told me, and I love you, and I really, really hope your kids are safe and everybody else is safe. And I keep feeling like crying all
Well,
day
I
about it.
say something. I'm just more thing.
Wait,
If anyone
start what?
has
Start
any
again.
personal,
What?
it feels good to be able to speak. Say that if anyone has any, oh, all right, take three. Any personal questions or comments or suggestions for me, I think the best way to do would probably be through my website. You hearing me?
Man, Abigail, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna post your website for personal questions. That's what I
There's my
heard.
website for personal messages, not for pictures. Yeah, so because then I'll know that it's coming directly to me. And if there's any way that I could answer, then of course I want to. We're in this together. And if I can do that for a fellow Jew, then I'm here for you. I know you're here for me, and I appreciate it. And I know you're davening for my children. And their brothers in arms, and we appreciate that here. So let's work together. So you
Hey,
could write me a personal message through my website,
what's your website?
hyperhealing.org, and hyperhealing.org.
Thank you, Guile. Okay, I love you, and
Love you, Sonny. Thank you.
have a good night. Bye.
Bye.